Oh yeah, I just had this fun thought about rock art, because you told me that's one of your specialities. But do you find any like draft rock art that's just like terrible, like no, not a masterpiece whatsoever, has like scratches on it? It's like, no, this is obviously like version 1, not final copy.
Yeah.
Do you see any of that?
Well, yeah, I see what you're saying. No, so let me just say my specialty isn't actually in rock art, but being at the museum, it's a big focus, and I love it. It's amazing, and I think South Africa has such amazing rock art. But no, that's what I find really interesting, is that you see the final piece, and some of the panels have images on top of each other. There's hundreds of images, and sometimes they're incomplete, but they are basically, to my knowledge, nearly always final pieces. They're beautiful. So they could have been kind of practicing maybe on things that didn't preserve, but a huge amount of the art has to do with the spirituality behind the art and the meaning behind the art. It wasn't that the art was there for art's sake and for necessarily only being beautiful. It was about the spirituality. So I find it interesting as well, all over South Africa, that you have that you have some traditions in different areas and at different time periods, but you have such a uniformity in how things are portrayed, and how an eland, for example, is shown so similarly across the country. And it's just interesting that it's something to do more with something cognitive and higher powers, rather than just the art. But then moving to the engravings, there you find a little bit, some of them are just beautifully engraved on really hard rock, and the line is perfect. Even for an expert, you think, how do you not actually lift up your tool to make a line, to make sure it's the right curve of the animal? And there sometimes you see some scrapes, or you'll see some things that look like it was a mistake. But in the painted art, you hardly do. You just see these final beautiful forms. But then again, there's a lot of art that might not have preserved, or might have been washed off the surface if it wasn't good enough. I don't know.
It's interesting because, like, I know, because I'm in content creation and into anime and stuff, like I know quite a few like artists, whether it's like physical or digital, and like all of them, like their early work looks so much different than what they can do after 2-3 years of practice and knowledge. It's like it's night and day. So I'm imagining it's probably the same with these rock artists. You don't just wake up one day and you can do amazing rock art. I'm sure that's not
definitely
so I was wondering.
I think also, the people that would be painting the art were most likely the shamans or the medicine men, or the people that had a lot of training in the belief system and in the spirituality of the people that were creating it. And so so that there would have been training in that. And so there's a lot that we don't know behind it.
Yeah, I was just fascinated. I was wondering, like, where's all this draft art? It's probably like on bark or something, right? It's like
that's the thing. Must be on other forms that we just don't see. And this is the final masterpiece is what we see, or the people that were allowed to paint in this amazing space on this amazing surface were the people that were skilled enough in art and in spirituality.